In this video, we're taking a look at the 28-liter Transit Workpack Pro from Bellroy. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Pack and Roam. I'm Kevin. If you're new to the channel, I do gear reviews, primarily backpacks and slings, but I also look at travel gear, everyday carry gear. If that sounds like your thing, definitely consider subscribing to the channel below. My mission, my goal, is to help you make informed decisions when it comes to gear acquisition. As such, today we're looking at the Transit Workpack Pro 28-liter from Bellroy. And I've had this bag for a while. It's newer to the Bellroy lineup. I was hoping to do a review on it last year. Got a little bit backed up. Also didn't feel like I'd used it enough to really adequately review it, but that's changed. So I've taken it out quite a bit. I've used it most recently on a work trip to Cincinnati last week, and now I'm prepared to dive in to the Transit Workpack Pro 28-liter from Bellroy. So let's get into it. All right, starting with materials and specs. For materials, we're looking at recycled Dura nylon from Bellroy. I really like the material. It's lightweight, but it feels very durable. It's kind of got, I wouldn't say a loose weave, but looser, so it feels almost like 1000D, but it's, you know, not quite as thick, and I think it's got a great look to it. I really like the matte finish. I like the sheen to it. I mean, aesthetically, this is one of my favorite aspects of the bag is this material, the overall look of it, and we'll get more into that as we go along, but I do have to say I like this material, and it feels like it's very durable material. Now, time will tell, and we'll see as time goes on, but I have, I've used it quite a bit, and I see, there's some stains on it, probably from coffee or whatever, but I don't see, any signs of wear or abrasion on this bag so far. So holding up just great. We've got coated zippers all the way around externally. So there's, one zipper entry here for a dump pocket. We got the main zip. We've got the laptop compartment. We've got a water bottle pocket and a side pocket here, all coated zippers with, I believe, these are all YKK zippers. Yes, YKK zippers all around. So nice addition with the coated zippers. I like them, and they're very smooth. They are smooth for coated zippers, so I had no issue functionality-wise with these. Some of them are the locking type, like the water bottle pocket, so if you want to have it open partially, it'll lock in place when the pull is not pulled. So overall, great materials all around in this bag. So capacity, obviously, is 28 liters. The weight of this bag empty is 1,100 grams or about 2.5 pounds, a little less, 2.43 pounds is what this bag weighs empty. Dimensions, we're looking at about 21 inches, so 20.87 inches by about 14.5 inches wide, and then a little less than 7 inches in depth. So those are the exterior dimensions for this bag. Let's move on to exterior, some of which I've kind of already covered. We've talked about the coated zippers, the entry points. The bag itself, the aesthetic is very minimal, and I like that about it. There's really not a lot going on. You don't have there's no PALS webbing, there's no externally visible pockets. You've got zippers. I really like the look of this bag. I mean, I think overall, it's got a very minimalist aesthetic that I find very pleasing. So, cool bag from that respect. On the front, we've got some branding, so you can see the Bellroy logo right there. Not overly done, but obviously it stands out. We've also got some branding by way of the Bellroy owl on the strap right here. Pretty low-key, minimal. That's black on this olive colorway, and this does come in two colorways. As of now, it's either this olive color or black, and I went with the olive color. Not much to the front. Sides, we've got a water bottle pocket on this, and we'll get more into that when we open up the internals. We've got a very nice, soft, seatbelt-like material, padded grab handle on the back. This is a very nice grab handle. We've got another quick access side pocket on this side. I think what really stands out on the outside of this pack is the harness system and the padding on the back panel. And I do have to say, fantastic straps on this bag. We've got some kind of mesh material with very thick padding. This bag was very comfortable to carry loaded out. Tons of padding. I mean, this is very thick straps. Really like the straps on this. And then we've also got that same material on the back panel with some foam underneath, very padded, nice channel up the middle to maintain airflow. Really very comfortable bag to wear. Found this extremely comfortable. And then in between the padded mesh areas, we have a luggage pass-through that's it's retractable. So if you pull it out, you can get a pass-through in there, but it kind of sucks back in. So there's got to be some stretchy material in there, and it looks very well made. We got great stitching on this, but good extra feature to have if you did want to use this as a travel bag in a roller bag setup or as a personal item in a roller bag setup. You've got this, which is actually what I did on my last trip, and we'll get into a little bit more detail on how that worked out. But otherwise, we've got a magnetic harness or sternum strap. So this very thin sternum strap stays out of your way. The magnetic part is, well, we'll get into that later as well. You've got kind of these, you could pull it off of here. It's removable, but you kind of got to slide off the end, and then you could slide it onto that area right here. So there's kind of like some tubing in there, and then you've got this rounded clip, and you kind of slide it on, and then you can position it wherever you want by sliding it up or down. I find basically the lowest spot possible, and I do need to actually flip this around. So using it, it's almost like a left-handed setup. I was always reaching with my right hand to put the sternum strap on, and the long part's on the left. So not bad setup. I'm glad it has a sternum strap. Functionality-wise, that's a little bit different story, and we'll get into that later. But that's really it for the exterior. Bottom is the same material. You've got some gussets here for the water bottle pocket that are visible, and nice zipper garage right here for that water bottle pocket, which is actually fairly sizable and easy to get that zipper into. So if you did want to put something other than a water bottle in here, you know, you've got some good weather protection. And there is built-in strap management. So we have plastic sliders, not the elastic type. These are the plastic type for all the straps, including the sternum strap. So it's nice to have that built-in strap management. The webbing for the straps is also seatbelt material, very soft, not very wide, thinner material with generous thumb loops or finger loops on the bottom to pull this tight, doubled over with tons of stitching. So overall construction seems pretty bulletproof, very well made bag. And then lastly, most of the zipper pulls. So the zipper pulls for the main access and the kind of dump pocket area, as well as the laptop compartment, are all, this feels like leather. I'm not 100% sure if it is leather, but that's what it looks like, it feels like. Nice, long, generous zipper pulls. Great purchase. Very easy to grab and manipulate and open the bag with these zipper pulls. I think they fit the aesthetic of the bag very well. They feel nice. Overall, nice work on the entire setup in terms of the outside, the material choices, and that type of stuff. So, all right, let's open this up and dig into the interior. And I think we're gonna start, where should we start? We'll start with this front zip kind of dump pocket area. And I just came back, I just traveled home yesterday, so this is still loaded out with what I had in here for travel. I was using this as a personal bag on this last trip with a roller bag carry-on setup. So this area here is like a big dump pocket. It kind of reminds me of the CTB 26, although I will say I don't quite like the execution as much on this bag. So we've got an internal zip pocket with some shrink wrap paracord zipper pull material set up. I was keeping my AirPods in this, so I got my AirPods in there. I was putting my wallet and some other minor stuff in there. They advertise this as a sunglasses slip pocket, but I just have my sunglasses stuffed in there. But I've got my pills in there, some leftover snacks from the flight, charging cable from the rental car, my sunglasses. These are the Gators. Still rocking those. I love them. More snacks. And then I've got the NEU 25K 100 watt battery bank. And I did use this on this trip, and I gotta say, this thing performed fantastic. So, you know, I do a lot of pretty much all my personal stuff on my iPad Pro, and that thing can suck battery, especially if you're plugged into like an external hard drive or something. And this is the only battery I've used so far that can actually overcome that deficit and charge while I'm using it. So usually if my battery's running low on that and I plug it into most power banks, I can kind of maintain battery level without dropping any further. This one actually puts a charge on. So this one, and fast. So I do have to say I'm very impressed with the functionality of the NEU 25K battery bank. And yeah, this is the latest step in my battery bank obsession. At this point, I'm ordering a battery bank for pretty much every trip I go on. So I did get another battery bank for the trip I'm going on this week to test out. I'm probably gonna have to start doing battery bank reviews to justify buying all these battery banks. Anyway, that's all I have inside this pocket. Oh, no, I do have the Peak Design tripod, their little MagSafe tripod setup, which is very handy, but that's all I have in there. And this is great because it's something I've become accustomed to having in a travel bag, and I like kind of a dump area where I can just accumulate miscellaneous stuff and not have to necessarily organize it, but I can toss it in there when I'm on the move. Sometimes, you know, you're moving, you got to be quick. You don't have time to necessarily keep things as organized as you want to. And it's very handy to have these dump style travel pockets. This material has a little bit of stretch to it on this pocket. On the base, we've got, or I should say on this back panel, we've got a larger slip pocket, which this battery bank does fit in there, but then I found it wants to fall out and I didn't keep it there. And then we've got a couple pen sleeves here on this side. This material on the inside has kind of, it almost looks like a tiny grid pattern on it, and it almost feels like linen or something, but a little bit smoother. Overall, nice material, but it does have a linen-esque feel to it, which was kind of surprising to me, but I do like it. It's nice. So that's it for the inside, and just a big open dump. That goes down to about the Bellroy logo on the inside, and then very spacious, lots of room to put whatever you might want to dump into that pocket. Just keep in mind though, as this starts building up, if you're going to use it as a personal item, you want to be able to fit it in front of the seat in front of you, so you don't want to pile too much stuff in there. Let's move on to the side pocket. So on this side, we have what is supposed to be like a quick access side pocket. You can sling the bag around and get into this while you're wearing it. Unfortunately, this bag kind of feels like it's set up for a lefty, and it's on the wrong side. So if I'm going to access this on the fly, I have to use my left hand, which is doable. I would just prefer to be able to swing it off my left shoulder and use my right hand to access. So I didn't use this as much as I thought I would. I put my phone in here going through security just to kind of segregate it. I think, yeah, I have my wallet in here as well. So this is the Minimalist M wallet, the Minimalist M1 wallet I've been using from Leo's Leather Goods. Still enjoying this wallet. And you got a key leash in there. So you've got some paracord with a plastic clip on there for a key leash. Otherwise, I mean, you've got plenty of space in there. So this kind of fills out this whole area right here. And then you've got what looks like the same material as that dump pocket, but it's kind of a grayish blue color, which is a pretty cool color. I really like the way that looks against the olive exterior. On the other side, the opposite side, we've got a water bottle pocket, and I do have a water bottle in there that I picked up on the road. And this one's a little bit different. So it's got, you know, you can see this, the back coating of the exterior material on there, so that's offering some waterproofness. And then you've got what feels like the same material, and I think it is, but I think that's a different color. Is that the same olive color? Hard to tell. But no, that's the same olive color as the exterior of the bag, which is nice because what you'll realize, and you'll see it closer when we get to the inside of the main compartment, this is more or less, you know, waterproofed. Or maybe not waterproof, but if you do have a leak in here, I think it's going to prevent that water from getting into the interior of the bag. The only thing missing, though, maybe I'm missing it myself, but no, I'm not. The only thing missing would be a grommet or some type of drain that if you did have a leak, that water would come out the bottom. So I think that would have been kind of icing on the cake in this setup. But I do like the fact that it does appear that this has some waterproofing to it, and is then, you know, therefore more suitable for water bottle carry. And then water bottle wise, I mean, you could fit, let's see, this is probably the largest one I ever typically carry. And this is a Camelback 32 ounce with a big lid on it. Let's see if I can get that in there. So you can get it in, you're just not zipping it up all the way, which is fine. As I mentioned, you've got that locking style zipper on there, so that is going to hold tight you know, unless you pull on the pole, it's gonna stay there and it's not gonna separate if you don't want it to. So won't fully contain that big bottle, but it will hold it and not let it fall out. And let's see, this one, I guess this one might be even a little bit bigger. This is a 26-ounce insulated Yeti, and this one, same thing. It'll fit in there, but that top handle is going to stick out, which, to be honest, to me, that's not a problem. It's still contained. It can't fall out, and that zipper locks. So good design choice with that locking zipper. They also put that same style in that quick access pocket, so that's not going to, it's not going to inadvertently unzip unless you pull the zipper pull and physically unzip it. All right, let's open up the main compartment. And that one is mostly full clamshell access, but you see we lose the last maybe 2-3 inches. So it opens almost full clamshell and it does fold over, but that's not bad. It's not a bad setup. I like that you can kind of stuff stuff in there and have a little bit of retention when you're loading out. That kind of helps you understand what the max limit is for that. So that if you keep it within this little bucket that forms when you unzip it, it loads out pretty well. More snacks. So this is what the inside looks like. We've got that same blue material. It looks, I do like the look of that blue material. I think it looks very nice. It almost has, like I said, like a linen-y feel to it, and it's not tight. It's pretty much loose throughout the bag, and except for the inside, like the actual lining of the sides, but very cool. We've got a mesh pocket up here. Same paracord shrink wrap setup for the pull on that. This is not stretch. It actually feels like it's got that very plasticky, stiff feel to it, but it makes it feel extremely durable. I think that's some very nice mesh right there. We've got a Bellroy tag right inside that front cover. And then what I have loaded up on the inside right now is a Cap 1. Then I have the DJI Pocket 3 in there. I used the Cap half for my in-room charging kit this time. And then I did use the Gravel Mini as my DOP kit on this trip. And then under that, on the bottom, I have my work laptop. And then we've got this magnetic compression strap set up in there. So it's kind of not really compression. You can't crank on it and compress it. It's just the elasticity that's built into these. So I'm kind of on the fence about that setup. I'm not sure. And you don't have to use it if you don't want to. You just leave these hanging off to the side. But work laptops under those. So this is what the inside looks like. We've got that blue material throughout. You can see the back side is not covered. This is the water bottle pocket area, and you've got that coated material on there to protect from leakage, I would assume. And overall, pretty cool looking interior. I'm kind of on the fence about this compression strap, but it's, some people may find it useful. You'll see we have a lot of extra material here, and that is the tech carry access or the tech carry compartment that's built in a laptop compartment. We'll get to that in a minute. And then we also have another Bellroy tag down here, which is conveniently sized for an air tag. But I did find, I feel like it could be a little bit bigger because that air tag just it doesn't want to stay in there. And, if you flip it that way, it's not going to come out. But as soon as you go that way, it wants to start popping out. But construction looks pretty fantastic in there. I mean, overall, really nice look to the interior. And definitely looks like it's well made. Then you will notice, you can see in this corner, that is the laptop zip compartment. So when you open the laptop compartment, along the sides, if you're going into the laptop compartment, there's kind of like, it goes into the main compartment, which, I don't know, just something to note. So that's it for this inside main compartment. Let's take a look at the laptop compartment. And this is not a bad setup in here. So we've got this top area right here, which is a dump area. The Cap 1 from Evergoods will fit in there sideways, no problem. And which I was doing back and forth to the plant. And then in the back side, I do right now have my iPad Pro in there. But you've got this top divider section. And this is rigid. So it feels like a piece of stiff foam in there. Then you kind of got this loop of paracord right here. So I guess if you want to kind of pull that way, you've got something to pull with. Laptop would go in this section. This is offset. It does not go, it feels like it ends right about there. So it does not go to the bottom of the bag. You've got a false bottom there to protect your laptop. And then that's pretty much it to this interior compartment. So it does work well for carry. I think for me, for travel purposes, it doesn't work quite as well. I do typically travel with two larger devices, the iPad Pro as well as my work laptop. And I like it when I can fit both of those into one compartment, which, I mean, a lot of bags don't fit that criteria for me, but some bags do. This is not one of them, but that's really it. No other organization in here, no slip pockets. You can see this material is loose. This is that material we saw on the inside. Something to be aware of. And this is really designed to fit. You could fit the toiletry kit in here. You can fit the Bellroy tech kit in here. But when you do put that in, that's all interior space you're eating. So this is now there. It's taking up that space, but it is more conveniently accessible from this compartment if you want to keep your tech stuff isolated and be able to get it from one access point. Although again, like I said, it takes up the inside. So it's kind of a trade-off. And I think Bellroy advertises that as a security feature in terms of when you're going through airport security, if you have to get this stuff out, say that was your dock kit in there and your laptop and you got to pull all that out, it's all from one compartment. You don't have to open multiple compartments. So I like it from that perspective. So from a loadout for travel though, since I don't have to pull any of that stuff out when I go through security, I found it was just easier to put that stuff inside. And then I also found I do like the fit of the Cap 1 slightly better in there because it's just a little bit narrower. So I can load this all out in this. It fits just fine. But then this just takes up the space a little bit differently. And I found I did prefer to use the Cap 1 in there. And that's really it for the interior. It's very minimal organization, which is fine based on user preference. And, I tend to gravitate towards less organization overall. So I find this very acceptable. Very nice overall internal layout. Let's move on to likes and dislikes. So we're going to start with likes. And number one on my list is external materials and its minimalist aesthetic. I really like the way this bag looks. I think it has a great look to it. It wears well. I think it looks good on me. I think it looks good off of me. I think it has a great look overall, and I really dig the minimal aesthetic, and I love the materials. I really like this olive color. Fantastic material and aesthetic to this bag. Number two, and kind of sticking with materials, I do really like that interior blue material. It looks so cool. It's very unique. I don't have any other bags with that like bluish gray interior color, and I'm a big fan of like blue grays, so I think that looks so sharp. I really like the interior of this bag and that look of this blue material. And then speaking of the interior material, I do like that they differentiated with a lighter material in this pocket. So these zippers can be kind of right on top of each other, and you're gonna know right away if you're in the wrong pocket or the right pocket, kind of based on that differentiation they did with materials, which I think it's pretty cool setup. And that light gray is really nice for a dump pocket. Really helps you pick out the individual items in there with that lighter background. Number three, and this is a big one. I mean, these could all be tied for number one because number three is the harness system and just the overall comfort of this bag. This is one of the most comfortable bags I've worn for travel in a long time. To me, it's up there with Go Ruck and Mystery Ranch in terms of the comfort of this harness. I found it extremely comfortable for me, and it was really, really nice to carry. Number four, I like that they kept the water bottle pocket, an internal water bottle pocket, because I am one of those people that tends to not like external water bottle pockets. I think it kind of ruins the aesthetic of your bag when you've got water bottles sticking off the side. But I do like having a dedicated place to put them that's not on the interior, and that also seems to be protected from spills and leaks like this is. And then in addition to that, it's a little bit more versatile this way because you can put other stuff in there that you need to keep under wraps with a zipper and might not trust in a water bottle pocket if you're not carrying a water bottle. So kudos to Bellroy for those design decisions. I like that pocket. And then number five, I really like this front dump pocket overall. I like having that spot, as I mentioned, when traveling to kind of dump stuff and keep it all contained. So we're going to stick with those as my top 5 favorite features. There's a few more features I could have added to that list. Overall, good design, and I do like this bag. Let's talk dislikes for a minute, though. Number one, even though I do like the overall dump pocket setup, I'm not a big fan of this slip pocket setup. You have to be very careful if you do open the dump pocket and you also have the main compartment open. Well, let's say you open this first and then you got to get something on the inside. When you flip this over, anything in those pockets is going to fling out, which is not a big deal. You know it, but it opens up the possibility for losing something. And maybe it doesn't even fling out. Maybe you put it like this and then that slides out. You don't know it. And it's on, the hotel bed when you're packing up to leave the room. And then, let's say I've got this little tripod in there and that winds up in the folds of the comforter. Now it's gone forever. So I know that kind of sounds like an extreme nitpicky example, but I'm speaking from experience because I had a lot of stuff slip out of here inadvertently, not realizing I had this open. So part of that's user error. Part of that, though, I think could be solved with design changes. Number 2, while I do like the water bottle pocket, not a big fan of this pocket. Primarily, not that I don't like it as a pocket. I mean, it's a good space. What I don't like is its placement. And what bothers me is that it seems like it's set up for left-handed users. So if you're a southpaw, good for you, because this bag seems to be set up to accommodate you more so than me. Not unusable. I just felt like it would have been more usable on the other side. And then another dislike, so number 3, is we don't have a side handle of any type, which made using the luggage pass-through very difficult. So I have a very small 20-inch Maxlite roller bag from Travel Pro, that I was using on the last trip, which is, it's small, it's manageable. I like it, but it is sometimes prone to tip overs. And trying to wrestle this bag and this kind of small luggage pass-through over the handle of that bag was very difficult when they were both loaded out without having something to grab onto on the side. If this is all tight because you got a water bottle in there, you kind of got to hold it like this and then hold the bag with your feet and then try to guide it in. So I think it could use some type of side carry handle to make that luggage pass-through a little bit easier to use. But it is cool that that's retractable. I do like that feature. And then kind of sticking along the same lines, something to keep in mind, if you have the water bottle pocket full, and you're like me, and maybe you've got this kind of water bottle pocket, I'm not going to want to put it on top of my luggage this way for fear of potentially squeezing this and causing a leak. So I'm going to want to put it this way. And now when it's that way on there, if you need to get anything out of the dump pocket, you have to be very careful because if you unzip this, stuff can spill out. So to me, that could have been thought out a little bit better. And I know it's kind of nitpicky, but these are the things I think about from a usability perspective. So, and then the other downside to that is you no longer have access to this quick access pocket because now that's on the bottom. So if you have anything you need to get into, you kind of got to, dig to get in there. So again, kind of nitpicky, but also, again, those are the kinds of things I think about from a usability perspective when I'm testing out bags. All right, and then lastly, and number 4, and this is really kind of a nitpicky gripe, but I didn't really find this very easy to use. So I can get it apart one-handed, no problem, but I found myself having a hard time getting this magnetic sternum strap together one-handed on the move. Like basically impossible for some reason. So that could also be part user error, part design, or mostly user error. Maybe that's a motor skill issue with the user, but I did find it a little bit more difficult than I typically find magnetic straps. Like the magnetic V ones, if you get those things close, they go together. I felt like I couldn't get this one close enough to clasp, and I always had to wind up using a second hand, which when you're using it with a roller bag is kind of a pain. So just other, again, very minor user type personal usability nitpicks, but also things to keep in mind if you're looking at purchasing this bag. And if you're like me in usability respects, you'll have a little bit better understanding of what you may potentially not like about this. All right, let's talk use case scenarios for a minute and basically who this bag is for. And while they market this as a Workpack, so it's the Transit Workpack Pro, I think that's where it really shines. This is a great bag, especially for people that need a little bit more space to take to and from the office, commuters, that type of stuff. If your loadout is a little bit larger, you've got this 28-liter bag, this really shines for daily carry. So when I got to my destination and I'm using this back and forth to the facilities I work in, excellent for daily carry. Love it for that. Not so much for travel. So like I said, they market it as, transition from carry or office or commute, to travel to, and you can. I mean, it's a perfectly feasible bag to use for travel. Just it doesn't excel in that area for me, and I think it's primarily going to be a travel or a commuter bag. And in that respect, or a daily carry bag, I think it shines for that. What do you think of the Transit Workpack Pro? Do you have one? Do you want one? 28 liter, 22 liter? I'd love to hear from you. Whatever you got, thoughts, comments, questions, drop me a line below. If you found this video useful, please hit the like button below and definitely consider subscribing to my channel. It really helps the channel out. Thanks.